Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepy Cosmic Lens, a place where the mind can drift, untethered, into the deepest, most silent expanses of the universe. Close your eyes now and let your consciousness begin to drift. Let go of the weight of the day, the pull of the ground, the very feeling of being here at all. Imagine a gentle release, as if a mooring line has slipped its knot, and you are beginning a slow, effortless rise, not up, but out. Out beyond the shimmering veil of the sky, beyond the last clinging whispers of atmosphere, into a profound and eternal quiet. You are floating now, in a sea of purest black, a velvet darkness, so deep and so complete, it feels like a physical presence, a soft pressure all around you, holding you in a silent embrace. There are no stars here, not yet. They would be too bright, too sharp. For now, there is only the tranquil, infinite dark. You are adrift between places, in the cosmic ocean, cradled in the gentle currents of nothingness. Time here has no meaning. A second stretches into a century, and a millennium passes in the space between heartbeats. You feel the profound cold of the void, not as a biting chill, but as a serene, penetrating stillness that seeps into your thoughts, slowing them, calming them. It is the temperature of rest, the temperature of deep, dreamless sleep, and you drift, for what feels like an age, in this perfect, peaceful emptiness. Slowly, as if emerging from the deepest waters, a soft, golden light begins to permeate the dark. It is diffuse, gentle, warming the edge of your awareness. You are approaching a star, our sun, but it is distant now, a brilliant but softened jewel, its light a pale, forgiving gold. You do not feel its heat, only its faint, reassuring glow. And there, cradled within its luminous reach, are the worlds of its family, specks of dust dancing in a sunbeam. You glide past them, your passage silent and slow, the rusted orb of Mars, the swirling pastel marbles of the gas giants. You see them as distant, serene visions, their majesty softened by the vast gulf of space. Your journey is not towards them. Your destination lies further, towards a spectacle of such gentle, ringed grandeur that it has captivated the sleeping minds of dreamers for millennia. You are drawing closer now to a soft ochre glow, a world banded in creamy hues of butterscotch and pale honey. It grows in your view, not with urgency, but with the infinite patience of celestial motion. And now you see them, the rings. From afar they seem like a single perfect line, a scratch of luminous chalk across the darkness. But as you approach, that line resolves, expands, becomes a vast flat plain of countless particles, a field of frozen snow dust, wide enough to span the gap between worlds, yet thinner than a whisper. They catch the distant sunlight and glow with a soft, silvery sheen, a silent, slow-motion whirlpool of ice and dust, a celestial lullaby made visible. This is Saturn, the crown of our solar system, a place of impossible lightness and serene, silent beauty. But our journey is not to the giant itself. Our attention is drawn to the points of light that dance around it, held in its gentle gravitational embrace. They are its children, its companions in the long, slow dance around the sun. Dozens of them, each a world unto itself, cloaked in ice and mystery. Tonight we will visit these silent sentinels. We will drift beside their frozen cliffs, traverse their ancient cratered plains, and ponder the secrets locked within their icy hearts. Our first destination waits, a world of stark contrasts and quiet revelations, a moon named Dione. Now let the image of Saturn, with its glorious, silent rings, fill your mind's eye. Let it be a soft, glowing backdrop, a celestial painting against which our story unfolds. And from that painting, one of the many diamond chip lights detaches itself, grows steadily, transforms from a point into a world. This is Dione, a sphere of pristine white and charcoal grey, hanging in the blackness. It is smaller than our own moon, a delicate marble suspended beside the vastness of its parent. You drift closer, and the silence deepens. The only sound is the quiet hum of your own drifting thoughts. The temperature here is almost beyond comprehension, a cold so intense that the very air you imagine would fall as snow, as liquid as stone. It is minus 187 degrees Celsius. Here, water ice is not fragile. It is the bedrock, as hard as granite, as permanent as the mountains of Earth. This is a landscape sculpted not by wind and water, but by eons of profound, unbroken chill and impacts from the dark. For centuries, Dione was just that, a point of light, a single bright speck noted by a curious astronomer named Giovanni Cassini in the year 1684, from an observatory in Paris. In his logs, it was merely the fourth moon of Saturn, a notation, a catalogue entry. For 300 years, that is all it was, a pinprick of reflected sunlight in the eyepiece of ever larger telescopes. Its mysteries, its scars, its very nature were hidden behind an unbridgeable gulf of space. It was a secret the cosmos kept close, a silent world waiting in the frozen dark. That silence was first gently broken in the autumn of a tiny, intrepid robotic traveller, Voyager 1, on its grand tour of the outer planets, swept through the Saturnian system. As it passed, it turned its electronic eye toward Dione. The distant dot became a blur, then a shape, then a world. The images it sent back were grainy, ghostly, black and white visions from across 1 billion miles. But they revealed enough to stir wonder. Dione was heavily cratered, a testament to a violent, ancient past. Its surface was a record of cosmic collisions, a dusty archive of the solar system's turbulent youth. And there was something else, strange, bright streaks that crisscrossed parts of its terrain like ethereal brushstrokes on a grey canvas. Scientists called them wispy terrain. They had no idea what they were. These faint, mysterious marks were a promise, a question whispered from the void. They hinted that Dione's story was not just one of passive acceptance of impacts, but perhaps of inner life, of change. But Voyager's glimpse was fleeting, a single blurry snapshot. The probe measured Dione's size, calculated its density, and confirmed it was a world made mostly of water ice, with a little rock at its heart. And then it sped away, leaving the moon to its silence once more, now with an aura of deepened mystery. The true unveiling would require a patient observer, one that could stay and watch and listen. It would take another spacecraft bearing the name of Dione's own discoverer, Cassini. In the summer of 2004, after a 7-year journey, the Cassini spacecraft slipped gracefully into orbit around Saturn. It was not a flyby, but a residency. For 13 years, it became part of the system, a silent artificial moon itself, its cameras and sensors acting as our remote senses. And on several occasions, it turned its full attention to Dione, flying closer and closer, until on one pass it soared a mere 99 kilometers above its frozen surface. From this intimate distance, Cassini saw with stunning clarity, and it solved the riddle of the wispy terrain. Those were not mere surface stains. They were not deposits of frost. They were something monumental. They were cliffs, vast, soaring, heartbreakingly beautiful cliffs of pure, brilliant white ice cutting through the darker, older landscape. The spacecraft's cameras revealed them as colossal fractures in the moon's icy crust, some hundreds of kilometers long and several kilometers deep. They were given names like Palatine Chasmata, Padua Chasmata, names for great deep fissures. Imagine them not as pictures on a screen, but as realities in the silent dark. In your mind, drift now across the face of Dione. The ground below is a somber grey, dusted with the dark carbonaceous soot of billions of years of exposure to space. It is a weary, ancient landscape, pockmarked with the circular memories of old impacts. And then you encounter it, a line, a crack in the world. As you approach, the line reveals its depth. It is a canyon, but its walls are not ragged stone. They are sheer, glittering ice. You drift towards the edge and look down, down into a crevasse so deep its bottom is lost in shadow. The wall of the cliff face is a dazzling, blinding white, a stark, clean fracture that exposes the moon's interior. This ice is fresh, pristine. It has not been darkened by eons of radiation. It shines with the faint reflected glow of the distant sun, a cool blue-white luminescence in the perpetual night. The scale is almost impossible to grasp. This cliff, this chasma, could span the length of entire countries on Earth. Its height dwarfs our tallest mountains, and it is utterly, profoundly silent. There is no wind to whistle through this canyon. No water flows at its base. No avalanche of ice disturbs its stillness. It is a frozen moment of colossal stress, a crack in a world shell, preserved for eternity in the unimaginable cold. You can float along its length, for what feels like forever, this immense bright scar on the face of a tiny world. This is the true nature of the wisps. Not wisps at all, but monuments, tombs of silence, standing in eternal vigil. What could have caused such titanic fractures? The leading thought is one of cooling, of contraction, of a world slowly settling into its final frozen form. Dione, like a great drop of water and rock, was born warm from the energy of its own creation. Over billions of years, that heat has slowly leaked away into the void. As it cooled, its interior shrank, but its icy outer shell, already rigid and cold, could not shrink with it. It was like an apple, its skin too tough, drying out and contracting inside. The surface had to crack under the strain. It fractured on a global scale, creating these networks of immense bright canyons. Some scientists wonder if there is another, even more fascinating possibility. What if, long ago, Dione had a layer of liquid water, a subsurface ocean between its rocky core and its icy shell? Water uniquely expands when it freezes. As that hidden ocean slowly turned to ice, it would have swollen, pushing outward, stressing the crust from within until it split open like an overripe fruit. The bright ice cliffs would then be the frozen tears of a world that once, perhaps, had a liquid heart. This idea of a hidden ocean is a whisper that comes not just from the cliffs, but from other subtle clues. Cassini's sensitive instruments detected a faint, telltale interaction between Dio and Saturn's powerful magnetic field, a whisper of electrical conductivity coming from within the moon. On a world of insulating ice, such a signal could point to a layer of something conductive, like salty liquid water. The fractures themselves could be the surface expression of that hidden sea's freezing, its slow transformation from a place of potential to a place of eternal stasis. Dione is also a partner in a delicate cosmic dance. It is locked in a gravitational embrace with a smaller, more famous moon, Enceladus. For every single orbit Dione completes around Saturn, Enceladus completes exactly 2. This is no coincidence. It is a stable, repeating pattern called a mean motion resonance. As these two moons chase each other around their giant parent, their gravitational tugs are perfectly timed, giving each other a rhythmic, periodic pull. This constant, gentle flexing generates heat inside both worlds through tidal friction. On Enceladus, this heat is so powerful, it fuels spectacular geysers that erupt into space. On larger Dione, the effect is more muted, a deeper, slower warming, but perhaps enough in the distant past, or even now, to keep a layer of water liquid beneath the ice. As you continue to drift in the soundless dark above Dione, you may notice 2 tiny faint companions dancing along with it. These are Helena and Polydeuces, moons so small they are mere mountains adrift in space. They are trapped in the stable gravitational points ahead of and behind Dione in its orbit, like 2 loyal attendants following a queen in her endless circular procession around Saturn. Their presence speaks to the quiet, complex ballet of gravity that governs this distant realm. Now, let your gaze soften. Let the details of the cliffs and craters blur into a tapestry of soft white and grey. Feel the profound cold of this place, a cold that has reigned for billions of years. It is a cold that preserves, that stills, that brings everything to a state of perfect crystalline rest. Dione is a world of silence and memory. Its bright cliffs are its memories of inner turmoil, now frozen and peaceful. Its dark plains are memories of a violent early solar system, now softened by time. It is a testament to the fact that even in the outer darkness, far from the sun's warmth, worlds are not static. They live geologic lives. They cool, they crack, they whisper secrets to those who listen closely in the quiet. We will leave Dione now, hanging in the black, its bright fractures glowing faintly like forgotten sapphires in the dark. We will drift away, back into the gentle current of space, letting its serene, frozen presence fade behind us. But our journey is just beginning. Other moons await, each with its own story written in ice and shadow, each a new chapter in our lullaby of the cosmos. So rest here, in the quiet after visiting Dione. Let its stillness become your own, and when you are ready, we will drift further, to a moon that is perhaps the strangest of them all, a world of two faces, of light and profound dark. Let us drift now gently away from the fractured, whispering ice of Dione. Let the serene emptiness between worlds take you once more. The silence is not an absence, but a presence. It is the sound of time itself stretching out thin and cold. As you float in this boundless quiet, feel your own rhythms slowing, your breath becoming as shallow and infrequent as the heartbeat of a hibernating creature. We are moving outward, further from the gentle ochre glow of Saturn, into a realm where the light grows dimmer and the darkness grows deeper. Our journey takes us to the edge of the known, to the outermost of Saturn's great children, a sentinel standing watch in the profound and lonely dark. Approach now, with infinite patience, a world that seems at first to be an illusion, a trick of the starlight. It fades in and out of perception, a phantom moon. This is Iapetus, the disappearing moon. Forget, for a moment, the sharp certainties of science. Feel instead the ancient rhythm it embodies, a rhythm older than any telescope, understood by philosophers gazing not at stars, but at the turning of our own world. This is the rhythm of yin and yang, the cosmic dance of opposites that are not enemies but partners, light and dark, expansion and contraction, the sunward face of the mountain and the cold, shaded valley. Iapetus is this principle made stone, made ice, made manifest on a scale that dwarfs comprehension. It is not a world with two halves, it is a single unified being, expressing the eternal, breathing rhythm of the universe itself. This truth was sensed long before it was seen. In 1671, the astronomer Giovanni Cassini saw a new pinprick of light near Saturn. He watched over months, then years, as this stubborn point performed a cosmic magic act. When it journeyed on the western side of Saturn, it was there, a steady, bright sentinel. But as it travelled to the eastern side, it would vanish, swallowed whole by the black velvet of space. Some days it was there, and the next it was gone. For 34 years this was its only language, presence and absence. Cassini, with a mind attuned to celestial patterns, listened. He understood the moon was speaking of duality. It must be tidally locked, one face forever turned to Saturn, and that face must be cloaked in a darkness so deep it absorbed the very starlight. The bright side faced us on the west, the dark on the east, and so it played its game of cosmic peekaboo across the centuries. Drift closer now. Let the reality of this duality settle upon you, not as an image but as a profound sensory experience. Before you hangs a perfect celestial sphere, cleaved as if by a god's gentle knife. One hemisphere, the one that leads, that pushes forward into the void as Iapetus orbits, is the colour of endless midnight. It is not black like space, but a matte reddish-brown black, like ancient char, like cooled ashes from the forge of creation. It has an albedo, a reflectivity, of only 0.03 to 0.05. It drinks the faint sunlight, offering nothing back, holding the warmth in a cold, silent embrace. This is Cassini Regio, a province of eternal shadow, cast not by an object, but by the nature of the ground itself. Now, let your awareness drift to the other side, the trailing hemisphere. Here, the universe exhales into brilliance. It is a blinding, pristine white, an albedo of 0.5 to Mort Mite 6, as bright as freshly fallen snow under a high mountain sun. This is Roncevaux Terra, Saragossa Terra. It is a landscape of pure, reflective ice, a mirror turned to the stars. This is the greatest contrast known in our solar system, not a gradient, not a blend. At the boundary, it can be as sharp as a line drawn in ink upon parchment. Darkness and light, yin and yang, existing together on one silent, frozen orb. How did this come to be? The story is a slow, relentless poem, written in heat and cold. It begins with a whisper of contamination from the outer dark. From the distant retrograde moon Phoebe, a steady, invisible rain of fine, dark dust spirals inward towards Saturn, and Hypatus, in its orbit, moves with its leading face directly into this gentle sootfall. For eons, a faint, dusty film settled, just a seed of darkness. Then, the moon's own rhythm took over. Hypatia turns with a profound slowness. One day here lasts for 79 of our Earth days. Its rotation is the longest in the Saturnian system. This means the sun rises and hangs in the black sky for weeks. On the already darkened leading face, that dark material absorbs the lingering sunlight. It grows warm, well, warm for here. It may reach a temperature of -144 degrees Celsius, and in this incredible lingering warmth, a sublimation begins. The water ice, touching the dark dust, does not melt. It transcends liquid, turning directly into a tenuous vapor. The ice retreats, and where does this vapor go? On a breath of solar wind, it journeys. It seeks the cold. It finds the brilliant white of the trailing hemisphere, which reflects light and stays frigid. It finds the poles in perpetual chill. There, it condenses, it freezes, it adds a new glittering layer of frost. And so, the feedback loop, serene and terrible in its perfection, establishes itself. The dark area loses ice, becomes darker, absorbs more heat, and loses more ice. The bright area gains ice, becomes brighter, reflects more light, and stays colder, waiting for more frost. Over millions of years, this thermal segregation sharpened the contrast into the stark duality we see, a runaway process of cosmic purification, leaving no shades of grey, only the absolute white and the absolute dark. The breath of the moon itself, exhaling darkness, inhaling light. But Hypatus holds a second mystery, one that lies not in its colour, but in its form. As you drift in a slow arc around its equator, you become aware of a presence, a feeling of immense, silent pressure. You are not seeing a wall of mountains. You are feeling the idea of a wall, a continuous, unbroken barrier that wraps the world. This is the equatorial ridge. Do not picture it as a jagged line. Feel it as a tension in the fabric of the moon itself, a permanent cinching of its waist. This ridge is a monument of impossible scale. It runs for nearly 3/4 of the moon's circumference. In places it soars to heights of 20 kilometers, twice the height of Everest. Yet Hypatis itself is a small world, only 1,469 kilometers across. The ridge is not a feature on the moon. It defines the moon, giving it the shape of a walnut or a stone carefully worn smooth by a river. It is ancient, pitted with the craters of eons, yet its origin is a gentle, profound secret the moon has kept. Perhaps long ago, Hypatia spun with a youthful, frantic energy. Spinning so fast its shape bulged at the equator, a temporary belt of centrifugal force. Then, over cosmic time, it slowed, it tidally locked to Saturn, and that bulging, frozen shape slumped, settled, but could not fully relax, leaving this eternal stony girdle. Or perhaps, in a more poetic past, Iapetus itself had a ring, a slender icy halo of its own, born from some colossal forgotten impact. And as the aeons turned, that ring became unstable. Its particles, no longer able to sustain their delicate dance, began to spiral down, not in a cataclysm, but in a slow, gentle rain. They fell not randomly, but along the equator, the path of least gravitational resistance, piling up kilometre upon kilometre in a silent, eternal snowfall of mountain-making material. A ring becoming a ridge, a dynamic circle in space, transforming into a static monument on a world. The ridge does not go all the way around. In some places it fades or breaks into isolated peaks. Was it never complete? Or has time and the great patient landslides that scar the dark plains begun the slow work of its erosion? So here it rests. Iapetus, the oracle. It speaks in the language of perfect balanced opposites. Its dark face Yang is receptive, absorbing, still. Its bright face Yang is radiant, expansive, and around its center a stone suture holds the two together. It is a lesson in cosmic harmony. There is no conflict here, only the deep, slow, necessary exchange that sustains a world, like the in-breath and the out-breath of the universe itself. Feel that rhythm now in the vast quiet, the inhalation of light onto the bright side, the exhalation of vapor from the dark, a single, slow, perpetual breath held over billions of years. Let your mind rest in that balance. There is nothing to solve here, only a pattern to witness, profound and serene. We will leave Iapetus now, this two-faced watcher on the frontier. Let its lesson of duality and unity settle into your quiet thoughts. The darkness is not to be feared. It is part of the whole. The light is not separate. It is the answer to the dark. They exist in a silent mutual embrace. And as we drift away, letting its strange, walnut-shaped silhouette fade once more into the star-dusted black, remember its old magic trick. It is not truly disappearing. It is merely turning its dark face to us, completing the cycle, becoming one with the void, waiting for its turn to shine again. Rest here, in the profound peace of this understanding. Now, let the current of the void carry you inward, back toward the soft golden embrace of Saturn's light. The profound binary silence of Iapetus recedes, its lesson of dark and light becoming a soft echo in your memory. You drift through the spacious dark, the great ringed planet growing once more in your awareness, not as a destination, but as a radiant heart around which its children slowly turn. Your path now leads to a world of a quieter mystery, a less stark but deeply ancient presence. You approach the orbit of Saturn's second largest moon, a sphere of ghostly white hanging in the blackness like a perfectly formed snowball, left in the cosmic freezer since the dawn of time. This is Rhea. Your first sensation is not of sight, but of texture. Imagine the purest, finest powder snow, the kind that falls on an utterly windless night and settles into a layer of flawless, unbroken white. Now imagine that snow is not soft, but hardened by eons of unimaginable cold into a crust as solid as marble, yet still possessing that perfect, almost blinding reflectivity. That is the surface of Rhea. It reflects nearly 70% of the faint sunlight that reaches it, making it one of the brightest objects in our solar system. It is a world of exquisite, frozen purity. But as you draw closer, a more complex truth emerges. This is not a world of pure water ice. It is something else. Scientists call it a frozen, dirty snowball. Let that idea settle into your mind, not as a scientific term, but as a sensory truth. Feel the substance of this world beneath you. It is not the clear, hard ice of a glacier. It is a mixture. For every 3 parts of crystalline water ice, there is 1 part of something else. Rocky dust, silicates, carbonaceous material, the primordial grit of the solar system. This is not a layer of dirt on the ice. It is mixed in, kneaded through the very fabric of the moon, like dark flour worked into a ball of white dough. This mixture gives Rhea its character. It gives it weight, a slight gravitational pull. It gives its landscape a subtle granularity, a feeling that if you could touch it, your fingers would come away not just cold, but dusty. This is the ancient building material of the outer solar system, preserved in a frozen, pristine state, a cosmic relic. Drift now over its surface, and let your awareness expand to absorb the dominant feature of this ancient place, its craters. They are not dramatic, sharp-rimmed wounds, but gentle, worn depressions. They are the fingerprints of time itself. Each one is a memory of a moment, billions of years ago, when a fragment of the early solar system, a leftover planetesimal, a rogue asteroid, plunged out of the silent dark and into this soft, icy crust. The impact would have been a violent flash of heat and motion in the perpetual cold, throwing up plumes of bright ice and dark subsurface material. But that was an eon ago. Since then, an unbroken silence has reigned. A silence so deep and so long, it has a physical weight. Settle your consciousness into one of these ancient basins. It is vast, hundreds of kilometers across, its walls sloping gently down into a flat, dark plain. The floor is darker than the brilliant highlands around it. Why? Because the impact, that momentary violence, excavated material from deep within Rhea. It brought up the dirt from the snowball, the darker rocky material that usually lies buried beneath the bright surface frost. This dark floor is a window into the moon's inner nature, a patch of its hidden self exposed to the void. And upon this dark material over the millennia, a faint new frost has settled, not from within but from without. It is the dust of the E-ring, the fine icy particles spewed forth by the volcanic moon Enceladus, slowly drifting down to coat everything in a thin, eternal shimmer. So the crater holds layers of history, the ancient bright crust, the excavated dark interior, and the slow, gentle snowfall from a neighbouring world's activity, all of it held in a silence that is absolute. There is no erosion here, no wind to smooth the edges, no rain to fill the basin. Only the imperceptibly slow process of micrometeorite gardening, where the gentlest rain of space dust over millions of years stirs the topmost molecules. The craters are not being erased, they are being softly recorded, their edges softening at a pace slower than the growth of continents on Earth. They are monuments to patience, to stillness, to the acceptance of deep time. Lie back in this silent basin and feel the age of the solar system pressing down upon you. This crater may have formed when life on Earth was just a chemical dream in a warm tidal pool. It has watched the entire history of our world unfold from this distant, frozen vantage point, in utter, unbroken quiet. But Rhea has one more delicate secret. It is a secret of atmosphere. The word is almost too strong. It is not an atmosphere as you know it. It is an exosphere, a whisper of gas so thin that the molecules within it almost never touch each other. They leap from the surface, travel on solitary, arcing paths over the landscape, and fall back to the ground alone. If you were to stand on Rhea, you would be in a vacuum as hard and perfect as anywhere in space. And yet, this whisper exists, and its primary component is oxygen. Let this idea fill your mind. On a world of frozen water, 527,000 kilometers from Saturn, in the absolute cold and dark, there is the breath of life. Not for life, but the molecule that symbolizes it. How did it get here? The process is as gentle as the world itself. Charged particles from Saturn's powerful magnetosphere, a constant invisible wind of energy, slowly sweep across Rhea's surface. When they strike the water ice, they have just enough energy to break the bonds between hydrogen and oxygen. The lighter hydrogen, liberated, often escapes into space entirely. The heavier oxygen atoms, however, linger. They cling to the surface ice, or they float in that tenuous, lonely exosphere. A second molecule joins it, carbon dioxide, perhaps from the breakdown of simple organic compounds also delivered by that gentle rain of cosmic dust. So imagine now, floating just above Rhea's surface. You are in the most perfect silence imaginable. The cold is a penetrating, absolute stillness. Below you stretches the ancient cratered landscape of the frozen dirty snowball, white and grey under the faint starlight. And in the space around you, so thin it is barely a concept, is oxygen, a few lonely molecules per cubic centimetre, a sigh in a cathedral, the ghost of air in a place where air is impossible. It is a breath held for 1 billion years. It is not for you. It is a byproduct of cosmic chemistry, of the slow, patient bombardment of radiation upon ice. But in its presence there is a profound, aching poetry. It is the universe unconsciously whispering the ingredients of a world like ours into the void. It is a reminder that the elements of life are not special, not rare. They are everywhere, even here, in this frozen, silent, ancient place, woven into the very fabric of the ice, and dancing in the thinnest possible haze above it. It is a monument not to life, but to potential, to the quiet, constant chemistry that hums beneath the apparent stillness of the cosmos. As you prepare to drift away from Rhea, let these sensations merge. The gritty, granular feel of the dirty snowball interior, the profound, aged silence of its cratered plains, and the haunting, invisible whisper of oxygen, a breath in the ultimate vacuum. This moon is an archive. It is a keeper of the old, quiet ways of the solar system. It does not have the dramatic cracks of Dione, the stark duality of Iapetus, or the hidden oceans of others. It simply is a frozen, breathing relic. Let its deep, deep stillness become your own. The oxygen in the void is a lullaby of pure potential. The craters are wells of infinite time. Rest here in this knowledge before we journey on to a moon that is not still, but one that has been shattered and survived. A world of scars and profound resilience. The gentle, oxygen-tinged silence of Rhea fades behind you, a soft memory held in the vastness. We drift closer now, deeper into the luminous embrace of the Saturnian system. The great golden orb of the planet is a constant, a warm-hued backdrop against the absolute black. The rings, from this vantage, appear as a sheer, impossibly thin blade of light, slicing the darkness with silent grace. Our path draws us toward another of the icy brethren, a world that hangs in its orbit, not with pristine stillness, but with the quiet dignity of a veteran. This moon has endured. It has been shaped, fractured, and forever marked by forces that would have shattered a less resilient world. This is Tethys, the survivor. Your first impression is of a delicate, almost fragile beauty, a sphere of brilliant, clean white, like a single perfect pearl suspended against velvet. It is bright, reflecting over half the sunlight that touches it, a testament to a surface of relatively pure water ice. But this purity is not the whole story. Tethys is a world defined by lightness, by an almost dreamlike lack of substance. Its density is the clue less than that of liquid water. This means Tethys would float, if one could find an ocean large enough. It is not a ball of rock with ice on top. It is through and through a world of ice, perhaps a fluffy, porous ice, with caverns and voids within, like a cosmic snowdrift gently compacted by its own gravity. It is a moon made of the very essence of cold, given form, but this gentle, floating world bears the marks of profound trauma. As you drift closer, you become aware not of a feature, but of a feeling, a deep linear tension in the fabric of the sphere. It is a presence that stretches across the curvature, a feeling of ancient monumental rupture. This is Ithaca Chasma. Do not picture it as a mere canyon. It is a scar, a wound that nearly circumnavigates the entire globe. In your mind, extend your awareness along its length. It runs for over 1,000 kilometers. On a moon only 1,062 kilometers across, this is not a canyon on a world. It is a crack that defines the world. Its walls, where they are not softened by time, soar kilometers high. Cliffs of pure blue-white ice that plunge into a trough wider than continents on Earth. The scale is incomprehensible. It is as if Tethys was once a slightly smaller, denser sphere of ice, and some immense gentle pressure caused it to swell, to expand. And its skin, Its icy crust could not stretch to accommodate this gentle inflation. It split. It fractured along a line of greatest weakness and tore open, exposing the inner layers to the eternal night. The leading theory whispers of this exact story, that Tethys in its youth was warmer, that it may have held not a global ocean, but substantial pockets of liquid water within its icy body. And then, over the eons, the deep cold of space seeped in, the water began to freeze, and water uniquely expands as it freezes. This internal expansion was a slow, inexorable force, a pressure from within. The icy crust above, already brittle in the deep freeze, had no choice. It yielded. It did not shatter into 1,000 pieces. It cracked in one long, continuous, graceful fault. Ithaca Chasma is that crack. It is the frozen memory of Tethys's interior solidifying. It is the moon's own growth ring, a starburst scar from when it transitioned from a world with liquid potential to a world of permanent solid frost. It is not a mark of death, but of a change of state, a testament to endurance through transformation. But the violence that shaped Tethys came from without as well as within. Turn your attention away from the great scar and sense another different kind of mark. A vast shallow depression that covers nearly 2/5 of the moon's face. This is the Odysseus crater. The impact that created it was of such staggering, world-breaking violence that it defies belief Tethys survived at all. The crater is 450 kilometers wide. Imagine an impact so powerful it created a basin nearly half the diameter of the entire world. The energy released would have been cataclysmic, sending seismic waves through the entire fragile globe, likely remelting the interior, reshaping everything. Yet Tethys endured. It did not fly apart. It held together. How? The secret lies in its icy, resilient nature. At the temperatures here, ice is rigid, but under the incredible instantaneous pressure and heat of such an impact, it can behave differently. It can flow, it can absorb, it can dampen. Scientists believe that at the time of this ancient cataclysm, Tethys's interior may still have been warm, perhaps even slushy. The impactor did not strike a brittle ball of ice, but a more forgiving, resilient body. The moon yielded, it deformed, it accepted this colossal blow, and then it began to heal. Not by filling in, but by relaxing. The crater's towering rim and deep bowl, over hundreds of millions of years, have slowly slumped and sagged under Tethys's own gentle gravity. The sharp edges have flowed, like cold honey over geologic time, leaving Odysseus surprisingly shallow, a gentle dimple on the moon's face, rather than a jagged wound. It is a crater softened by time and the inherent patience of ice, a monument not just to violence, but to profound slow-motion recovery. Now, let your awareness sink into the very surface of Tethys. Feel its temperature. It is a cold beyond earthly experience, an average of -187 degrees Celsius. At this cold, water ice is as stable as bedrock, but the cold is not uniform. This is where we encounter the phenomenon scientists, with a moment of whimsy, nicknamed the Pac-Man heat map. Do not think of a shape, a symbol. Think instead of a subtle, whispering gradient of energy. There is a region on Tethys, a great swath of its leading hemisphere, that feels different. In the endless, slow rotation of this tidally locked moon, one face forever towards Saturn, the other forever away, this region holds on to the faint memory of warmth, just a little longer, and sinks into the deep freeze just a little more reluctantly. During the long 45-hour day, this terrain absorbs a fraction more of the distant sun's feeble heat. Its thermal inertia is higher. This is likely because its surface texture has been modified. It is smoother, perhaps compacted by a gentle, constant sandblasting of ultrafine ice particles from Saturn's E-ring and from the plumes of Enceladus. This smoother sintered ice is like a better blanket. It takes longer to warm up and longer to cool down. So imagine the feeling as you drift across the boundary into this region. The deep, penetrating cold of space lifts, just a degree, not enough to melt, not enough to even dream of melting, but enough to feel like a whisper of contrast. It is the difference between the absolute zero of the void and a place that remembers, however faintly, the concept of warmth. And then, as you drift out of it, back into the surrounding terrain, the cold returns, a deeper, sharper, more ancient freeze. This is the Pac-Man, not a cartoon, but a real, subtle dance of thermal memory on a world of ice. A testament to how even the gentlest environmental influences, the dust of rings, the spray of neighbouring moons, can paint a world with invisible brushes of temperature. Through all of this, the colossal internal scar of Ithaca Chasma, the world-shattering yet softened dimple of Odysseus, the subtle thermal whispers on its surface, Tethys persists. It is the embodiment of endurance. Its ice is not weak. It is the strongest thing in this distant realm. It has absorbed a cataclysm that would have vaporized rock. It has cracked open from internal pressures and yet held its spherical form. It has been sanded by cosmic dust and painted by subtle gradients of heat. Tethys is a lesson in resilience. It teaches that to yield is not to break, that a scar is not a weakness, but a record of survival, that even the deepest cold can hold a memory of warmth, and a body of ice can withstand forces that seem apocalyptic. It is a serene, silent warrior, forever circling its planet, its fractures and craters, not as flaws but as medallions of a long and eventful existence. As we let Tethys recede into the general glow of the system, carry with you this feeling of resilient cold. The ice endures, it remembers, it survives. Let this quiet strength seep into your own sense of being. There is a peace in such endurance, a deep, unshakable calm. Rest in this knowledge, for our next journey takes us to a moon that is not a world of ice, but a world of another kind entirely. A place with a thick atmosphere, murky skies, and the only other standing liquids known in our solar system. We travel next to the colossal, enigmatic Titan. We leave behind the stark, resilient ice of Tethys, and drift inward, pulled by the deepening gravity of the Saturnian system. The void grows warmer, not with heat, but with a thickening of presence. The stark, star-dusted black softens into a pervasive, luminous gloom. The sharp clarity of space begins to haze over, as if a great diffuse lens has been placed between us and the stars. We are approaching a realm unlike any other we have visited. We are entering an atmosphere, not the whisper-thin exosphere of Rhea, but a true, substantial, enveloping sky. The sphere that grows before us is not a brilliant white pearl, but a smudged, apricot-hued orb, its features entirely hidden beneath a uniform, swirling cloak. This is no mere moon. This is a world. This is Titan. The first sensation, long before any sight of a surface, is pressure, a gentle, persistent pressure on all sides. You are no longer floating in a perfect vacuum. You are suspended in a medium. The nitrogen-heavy air of Titan is nearly 50% denser than Earth's at the surface. If you could stand here, you would feel it, not as a wind but as a palpable heaviness in the air, a syrupy quality to any movement. You would not need a pressure suit. Your body would be gently, firmly supported by this thick, alien atmosphere. It would feel like wading through a calm, invisible sea, and through this dense medium filters a dim, eternal twilight. The sun is a faint, diffuse white blotch behind a perpetual, high-altitude orange haze. This haze is not cloud, it is a photochemical smog, a soup of complex organic molecules, hydrocarbons like ethane and propane, born from the slow, patient breakdown of methane by sunlight over billions of years. It dyes the entire sky a burnt orange, a dull copper, a perpetual sunset with no dawn. The light that reaches the surface is weak, just 1,000th of the sunlight we receive on Earth. It is the light of a deep forest floor, filtered through a million leaves. It is a somber, tranquil, and deeply private light. Now, begin a slow, gentle descent through this eternal orange twilight. The haze envelops you, a uniform fog with no distinct top or bottom. For kilometers, you fall through this unchanging, copper-colored murk. There is no sense of motion, only a gradual thickening of the gloom. The silence here is different from the vacuum. It is a dampened silence, a muffled quiet. Sound would travel slowly, strangely, in this dense air, but there are no sounds. It is a world waiting in a held breath, and then shapes begin to coalesce below. Not sharp outlines, but soft, dark suggestions against a slightly less dark background. The surface of Titan resolves not with clarity, but with the mystery of a half-remembered dream. You are drifting over a landscape of profound, alien familiarity. There are hills, there are valleys, there are plains, but they are not carved by water and wind as we know them. They are sculpted by a different fluid, in a different cold, over unthinkable lengths of time. Feel the ground beneath you now. It is not the hard, gritty ice of Rhea, or the fractured crust of Tethys. Data from the Huygens probe, which landed here in 2005, suggests something unique. The surface has the consistency of wet sand, or perhaps a creme brulee, a thin, fragile crust over a softer, damp interior. It is a mixture of water ice as hard as rock here, and dark organic tholins, the complex hydrocarbons that rain from the orange sky. If you could touch it, it might give slightly under your hand, leaving a dark stain on your fingers, the soot of a million-year-old sunset. The ground is cold beyond earthly measure, minus 180 degrees Celsius. But in this thick atmosphere, that cold feels less like the biting vacuum of space, and more like the deep, penetrating chill of the most still, frost-laden winter morning imaginable. And then you sense it. Not see it, but sense it. A vast, flat emptiness ahead. A cessation of the gentle topographic rumble. A profound, featureless plain. You have reached the shoreline of a Titanian sea. Walk in your mind toward this boundary. The dark, granular sand gives way to a perfectly smooth, utterly black expanse. This is not water, it is liquid methane and ethane, a hydrocarbon soup kept liquid by the incredible cold and the pressure of the heavy air above. The lake, known as Ligeia Mar or Kraken Mar, stretches to a horizon lost in the orange haze. It is preternaturally still. No waves lap at the shore. The dense air and low gravity mean even a breeze would only ruffle the surface into tiny glassy ripples. It is a mirror of polished obsidian, reflecting nothing of the dim orange sky, swallowing all light into an absolute velvety blackness. Kneel at this silent shoreline. Dip an imagined hand into the liquid. It would feel cold, of course, but also startlingly thin, less viscous than water. It would evaporate quickly from your skin, a bitter, freezing steam of methane. But the true experience is one of sound, or the lack of it. There is no susurrus of waves, no cry of gulls, no rustle of reeds. The only sound is the sound of your own being, your heartbeat, your breath, and even that feels muffled by the heavy organic air. This is the silence of a fossilized moment, the silence of a process so slow, so patient, that it operates on a timescale beyond living comprehension. This is the silence of geology itself, for this is not a dead sea. It is part of a cycle. A slow, majestic, hypnotic rhythm that is the heartbeat of Titan. High in the thick orange atmosphere, when conditions are right, methane condenses. It forms clouds not of water vapor, but of liquid natural gas. These clouds drift, slow as continents, across the copper sky, and then it rains. But this is no terrestrial downpour. It is a gentle, endless drizzle of liquid methane. The drops are large, heavy, and they fall with a languid, dreamlike slowness through the dense air. They patter onto the hills and plains with a soft, oily sound. This methane rain seeks its level. It gathers into tiny streams, then rivers, then great branching networks that carve valleys through the water ice bedrock and the organic gunk of the plains. These rivers flow with a silent, dark purpose toward the great northern seas. You can stand at the mouth of one such river, like the Vid Flumina channel that feeds Ligeia Mar, and see, or rather sense, the slow, endless contribution of liquid from a continent away. The river is dark, a slick of flowing hydrocarbons against the slightly lighter shore. It makes no sound as it merges with the sea. There is no delta roar, only a seamless, silent unification. This cycle evaporation from the lakes, cloud formation, rain, river flow, return to the lakes, is Titan's version of the water cycle, but its rhythm is stretched over seasons that last for Earth years. Its tempo is lento on a cosmic scale. A single thunderstorm might brew for months. A river might take a year to rise from a spring rain. It is a lullaby of hydrology, a slow looping melody played in methane and time. Gaze out over the black silent sea once more. Beneath its placid surface, who knows what settles? On the seabed there might be drifts of acetylene snow, or strange buoyant icebergs of porous honeycombed ice. The liquids themselves are a complex blend, a primordial cocktail of methane, ethane, propane and dissolved nitrogen. And above it all, the orange haze continues its slow alchemical work, raining its complex organic molecules down, adding new layers to the landscape, building the ingredients for chemistry that, under different, warmer circumstances, might be the precursors to something else entirely. Titan is a world of profound paradox. It has a dense atmosphere on a small body. It has a liquid cycle in a deep freeze. It has the organic building blocks of life in an environment utterly hostile to life as we know it. It feels, in its heavy air and slow rains, eerily familiar, yet its substances and temperatures are utterly alien. It is a painting of earthly processes rendered in alien materials and hung in a cryogenic gallery. As you finally rise from that silent black shoreline, leaving the granular sand and the mirror-still sea behind, let the feeling of this veiled kingdom settle upon you. The heaviness of the air, the dim orange twilight, the profound wet silence of the methane lakes, and the slow majestic drumbeat of its hydrocarbon rainfall. Titan does not whisper of barrenness. It whispers of potential paused, of processes running on a different clock, with different solvents. It is a monument to the stunning variety of worlds, a testament that the universe can conjure landscapes of haunting, familiar beauty from the most unexpected of recipes. Carry this heavy, quiet, orange-tinted dream with you as we depart. Our final journey will take us from this large, complex world to a tiny, brilliant one, from the kingdom of atmosphere to the kingdom of inner fire and icy plumes. We go to the small moon with a giant secret, Enceladus. From the heavy orange-tinged twilight of Titan, we must now travel inward toward the very heart of the Saturnian glow. We leave behind the world of liquid seas and thick skies and return to the realm of pure, brilliant ice. But this journey is not a return to stillness. It is a journey toward a hidden fire. The great golden disk of Saturn now fills much of the sky, its rings a breathtaking razor-thin arc of frozen light. And nestled close to those rings, glowing with an almost painful whiteness, is a small, perfect sphere. It looks like a single, flawless marble of snow, a compact and pristine jewel. This is Enceladus. Do not be deceived by its quiet, static beauty. This is the most dynamic world of all. As you approach, the first thing you feel is its brightness. It reflects over 80% of the sunlight that touches it, making it the most reflective body in our solar system. It is a beacon of pure white, a cosmic lantern. This is not the gritty, dusty white of Rhea, but a clean, almost surgical whiteness, like fresh fallen powder under a full moon. The surface is smooth, eerily so. Great swathes of it show few of the ancient, cratered histories of its siblings. This is a young face, a face that is constantly being washed, smoothed and renewed. Drift closer. The cold here is intense, even for this realm, -200 degrees Celsius at noon. The surface is a crust of water ice, hard as steel. You could walk upon it, and your footsteps, if anything could make a sound in this vacuum, would echo across a landscape of gentle rolling plains and long linear depressions. But your attention is drawn irresistibly to the south, to a series of great parallel cracks in the ice. They are called the tiger stripes. From a distance they look like delicate scratches on a porcelain ball, but they are the gates to another world. Move toward them. These are not canyons like Ithaca Chasma. They are fractures, warm fractures. As you draw near, you feel a strange and profound contradiction. The absolute bone-deep cold of the surface is undercut by a faint, gentle radiance of heat emanating from these lines. It is a whisper of warmth in a universe of freeze. Data from the Cassini spacecraft painted these stripes in infrared as warm bruises against the cold crust. This heat is the first clue, the first soft murmur of the secret within. For beneath this gleaming frozen shell, perhaps only 20 or 30 kilometers down, lies an ocean. A global ocean of liquid salty water wrapped around the entire rocky core of this small moon. Enceladus is not a frozen snowball, it is an egg, a brilliant white shell protecting a warm liquid yolk. This ocean persists, liquid, because of a gentle, constant inner fire. Enceladus is locked in a gravitational resonance with the larger moon Io. With every orbit, Saturn's immense gravity, combined with Dio's periodic tug, squeezes and flexes the very body of Enceladus. This tidal friction generates heat from the inside out, not a raging volcanic heat, but a steady, pervasive warmth, enough to melt ice and maintain a sea in the eternal night. This hidden ocean is the warm, secret cradle in the cold, dark. Imagine it there, in the absolute blackness beneath the ice. Not a still sea, but one churned by thermal currents from the rocky seafloor below. The pressure is immense. The temperature is just a few degrees below what we would call freezing, but kept liquid by salts and ammonia, a bitter, alien brine. And on that dark, rocky seabed, there might be hydrothermal vents. Like the black smokers of Earth's ocean floors, these would be geysers of mineral-rich, superheated water, pouring energy and chemistry into the deep. On Earth, such vents are cradles of life, oases in the abyssal dark. The chemistry is there on Enceladus. The energy is there. The liquid water, the universal solvent, is there in abundance. This tiny, brilliant moon holds within it the most profound promise in the outer solar system, the potential for a second Genesis. And Enceladus does not keep its secret quietly. It sings of it, in a silent song of ice and vapor. For from those warm tiger stripes at its south pole, it vents, it breathes. Now position yourself just above one of these fractures. It is a canyon, but a young one. Its edges sharp, its interior glowing with a faint otherworldly light reflected from the hidden water below. And from along its length, 100 gentle fountains are playing. They are not explosive volcanic plumes of rock and ash. They are geysers of pure water vapor, laced with tiny ice crystals and simple organic molecules like methane, propane, and even the building blocks of amino acids. These plumes rise in graceful, slow-motion arcs from the surface. In the vacuum there is no billowing cloud, no sound of rushing steam. Instead, imagine seeing a fountain where the water is turned to glass mid-air. The particles catch the distant sunlight and glitter like a million tiny diamonds being spilled slowly, endlessly, from the wound in the world. They rise in silent shimmering curtains, a veil of frozen breath being offered to the cosmos. Float into one of these plumes. You feel nothing, for the particles are microscopic. But if you could sense them, they would be a fine, cold mist. These are the molecules of Enceladus's inner ocean, tasting of salt and silica, carrying with them the chemical story of the warm dark below. They soar upward, and most caught by the moon's feeble gravity, fall back as a gentle perpetual snow, painting the South Pole in fresh, brilliant white, erasing craters, renewing the surface. But a fraction of them achieve escape velocity. They break free entirely, entering space. These particles, this constant quiet exhalation of Enceladus, become the stuff of Saturn's E-ring. That vast, diffuse and hauntingly beautiful blue ring is the extended aura of this tiny moon, its breath frozen and stretched into a cosmic halo, a moon creating a ring from its own essence. Stay here for a moment, at the source. Feel the profound duality of this place. Under your feet, a crust of ice, colder than any earthly winter. Below that, a global ocean, warmed from within. And before you, that ocean whispering its secrets directly into the void, in a language of ice crystals and water vapor. It is an act of cosmic transparency, a confession. Enceladus cannot hide its heart, and so it shares it with the universe. This is where our intimate journey among Saturn's children must end, at the place of greatest hidden warmth, at the fountain of potential. Enceladus, the small bright keeper of an inner sea, offers a final humbling thought that even in the farthest, coldest reaches, the conditions for vitality can persist, that a world need not look alive on its surface to be teeming with possibility within. Now, it is time to take our leave. Gently, slowly, push away from the glittering plumes of Enceladus. Let its brilliant white disk begin to shrink. It becomes a star again, then a pinprick, lost among the other points of light dancing around the giant. We drift backward, the pace leisurely, unhurried. Saturn itself now fills our view. The majestic rings, seen edge-on from this angle, become a single, impossibly thin line of light, a razor's edge dividing the cosmos. Then they fan out again into their glorious wide embrace as we change our perspective. The planet, banded in soft creams and golds, is a masterpiece of serene gravity. It turns in silence, its stormless atmosphere a canvas of peaceful motion. We continue to drift, slower now. The Saturnian system, this intricate clockwork of rings and moons of fractured Dione, two-faced Iapetus, breathing Rhea, scarred Tethys, veiled Titan, and warm-hearted Enceladus begins to recede. It becomes a complex, beautiful arrangement, a single wondrous mobile hanging in the dark. Its light softens, blends, the individual moons merge into the general glow. The distance grows. The great ringed planet is now a splendid disk, then a bright coin, then a distinguished star among stars. The cold, clean darkness of interstellar space welcomes you back. The sensation of pressure, of atmosphere, of proximity, all fade. You are once again cradled in the pure, weightless, silent void. The grand spectacle is behind you, a memory held in the mind's eye. The peace is deeper now. Informed by the wonders you have visited, let your awareness expand, not to focus on anything, but to dissolve. Let the images of ice cliffs, dark seas, orange haze, and glittering plumes soften into abstract feelings, awe, serenity, stillness. Feel the vast, slow time of these worlds seeping into your own sense of time. 1,000,000 years is a moment there. A breath here can span centuries there. There is no rush. There is only existence, quiet and enduring. The starfield around you is a gentle, unfocused shimmer. You are not traveling to anywhere. You are simply being, adrift in the cosmic ocean. The gentle currents of nothingness rock you, a lullaby of absolute zero. The silence is complete, a blanket of rest for the soul. All tension, all thought, all sense of individual self begins to soften, to fade into the supportive, boundless dark. You are returning to a state of pure, peaceful potential. The journey is over. The observation is complete. Only the deep, welcoming quiet remains. Let go. Let go completely. And as you float in this final, perfect tranquility, under the gentle, unseeing gaze of 1 billion distant suns, there is only one thing left to say: good night.